Human attraction is rarely a straightforward narrative of bold declarations and obvious gestures. More often than not, the early stages of romantic interest are defined by a complex, silent dance of psychological tension, emotional vulnerability, and self-restraint. When a man develops deep feelings for you, but is not yet ready to openly admit them, whether due to a fear of rejection, a desire to protect an existing friendship, or a simple need to process his own emotions, his conscious mind will do everything it can to keep those feelings hidden. He will practice what he says, control his facial expressions, and attempt to maintain a completely casual, nonchalant demeanor. However, while the conscious mind is an expert at building walls, the subconscious mind is a terrible secret keeper. It constantly seeks pathways for expression, leaking the truth through an array of involuntary physical responses, subtle behavioral shifts, and micro-expressions that are nearly impossible to fake or suppress. Understanding these hidden signals requires moving past the loud, obvious markers of courtship and tuning into the subtle, micro-level interactions that occur below the surface. Attraction alters human biology and psychology in profound ways. It triggers a rush of adrenaline that causes nervous fidgeting, alters vocal frequencies to project warmth and masculinity, and forces the brain to prioritize the desired person above all others in a room. This psychological preoccupation is why a man who is secretly infatuated will effortlessly remember the most trivial details of a past conversation, or why his eyes will instinctively dart to you first whenever a group laughs at a joke. His brain has categorized you as highly significant, and as a result, his baseline behavior completely shifts whenever you enter his orbit. He becomes hyper-aware of his clothing, his posture, and his physical proximity, constantly adjusting his position to be closer to you while desperately hoping he isn't being too obvious. For anyone trying to navigate the ambiguous waters of does he or doesn't he, learning to read these nonverbal cues is an invaluable skill. It allows you to peer behind the curtain of his stoic or friendly exterior to see the genuine, emotional stakes driving his actions. When a man protects your reputation in your absence, creates excuses for brief, casual touch, or stretches a goodbye out for as long as humanly possible, he is screaming his affection through his actions because his words are locked away. These 15 subtle signs represent the unfiltered language of the subconscious mind. By paying close attention to these patterns of behavior, you can accurately decode his true intentions, pierce through the armor of his restraint, and recognize that he doesn't just view you as a casual acquaintance or a platonic friend. He actually likes you far more than he is willing to admit. The prolonged eye contact reset. When a man harbors deeper feelings than he is willing to confess, his eyes will almost always betray his restraint. The prolonged eye contact reset occurs when he catches himself staring at you with a vulnerability he isn't ready to openly share. Instead of simply looking away normally, he will experience a sudden, conscious realization of how long his gaze has lingered. This triggers a distinct, slightly panicked reset moment where he abruptly breaks visual contact, looks down or to the side, and then attempts to re-engage with a completely casual demeanor. This fleeting lapse in his emotional poker face reveals that he is utterly captivated by your presence, drawing his focus entirely toward you until his logical guard kicks back in to mask the intensity of his genuine interest. Subconscious, physical proximity shifts. Gravity behaves differently when someone is secretly infatuated with you, pulling them into your personal orbit without their conscious consent. Subconscious physical proximity shifts manifest as a persistent, magnetic closing of the physical gap between you two. In a crowded room, a group setting, or even a casual walk, he will consistently find reasons to drift into your immediate space. You might notice him leaning in remarkably close when you speak, adjusting his seating arrangement to be right next to yours, or subtly narrowing the physical divide until your shoulders almost touch. He isn't doing this to be aggressive or overly forward. Rather, his instinctual comfort and desire for deep intimacy are overriding his calculated efforts to remain aloof and emotionally distant. Micro-expressions and the eyebrow flash. While a man can easily practice what he wants to say, his micro-expressions are entirely governed by the rapid impulses of his subconscious mind. The most telling of these is the fleeting eyebrow flash, an involuntary, split-second raising of the eyebrows that occurs the precise moment you walk into the room or look in his direction. This subtle facial twitch is a universal human signal of instant recognition, intense interest, and genuine delight. Alongside this flash, you might catch a brief, soft softening of his eyes, or a momentary, involuntary parting of his lips before he quickly composes his features into a standard, friendly smile. These rapid, uncontrollable biological responses offer a pure, unfiltered glimpse into his true emotional state before his internal filter can disguise it. The selective memory effect for small details. When someone is deeply invested in you, your words carry an immense amount of weight, even if the conversation seems completely trivial at the time. The selective memory effect occurs when he effortlessly recalls incredibly minor, passing details you mentioned days, weeks, or even months ago. Whether it is a specific childhood pet, your highly exact coffee preference, a random movie you expressed a slight interest in seeing, or a casual remark about a stressful project at work, he retains it all with absolute clarity, while a casual acquaintance or a platonic friend might easily forget these insignificant data points. A man who is secretly falling for you tracks them meticulously because everything about you matters immensely to him. Changes in vocal tone and pitch around you. An incredibly powerful yet frequently overlooked sign of hidden attraction lies entirely within the acoustic shifts of his voice. When he addresses you directly, his vocal tone and pitch will undergo a distinct transformation compared to how he speaks to friends, co-workers, or strangers. Subconsciously, a man who is deeply attracted to a woman will often lower his pitch to a deeper, richer resonance to subtly project warmth, masculinity, and safety. Alternatively, if he is feeling a rush of nervous excitement around you, his voice might slightly crack or take on a softer, noticeably gentler cadence. This involuntary vocal modulation is a direct, physical reaction to the emotional stakes of the interaction, revealing his desire to soothe, impress, and connect. Spontaneous protective instincts. A man who harbors deep, unconfessed feelings for you will often exhibit spontaneous protective instincts, driven by an evolutionary urge to ensure your safety and comfort. These actions are usually instinctual and occur before he can think to suppress them. For instance, when walking along a busy street, he will automatically position himself on the traffic side of the sidewalk. If you are navigating a crowded venue, he might subtly place a hand near the small of your back to guide you, or use his body to shield you from the jostling crowd. He is also highly attuned to your comfort level. If the temperature drops, he will offer his jacket without hesitation, or if someone makes an uncomfortable comment, he will immediately step in to redirect the conversation. These small, chivalrous acts reveal that your well-being is his absolute priority. Mirrored body language and pacing. When two people are deeply connected on an emotional level, their physical movements naturally fall into a synchronized rhythm known as limbic synchrony. If he likes you more than he admits, he will unconsciously mirror your body language, gestures, and overall pacing. If you lean back and cross your legs, you will notice him doing the same moments later. If you take a sip of your drink, he will often reach for his. This mirroring even extends to his physical pacing. When walking together, he will perfectly match your stride, refusing to rush ahead. This involuntary copying is his brain's way of saying, "I am completely in sync with you." It builds a subconscious bridge of comfort and rapport, proving that his focus is entirely locked onto your presence and behavior. Unusual nervous fidgeting or preening. No matter how confident or stoic a man might normally appear, being around someone he secretly desires will inevitably trigger a spike of nervous adrenaline. This internal excitement manifests outwardly as unusual fidgeting or sudden grooming behaviors, often referred to as preening. When you enter his space, he might suddenly start adjusting his watch, smoothing down his shirt, fixing his hair, or playing with his phone. You might also notice him shifting his weight from side to side, or drumming his fingers on the table. These physical tics are clear signs of nervous energy. He is intensely hyper-aware of how he appears in front of you, and desperately wants to look his best, even if he is trying his hardest to act completely nonchalant. The post-joke validation glance. Humor is a powerful tool in romance, and a man who is secretly infatuated with you will care deeply about your reaction to his wit. The post-joke validation glance is a telling psychological tell that occurs in group settings. Whenever he delivers a punchline, tells an amusing story, or does something funny, his very first instinct will be to look directly at you to see if you are laughing. Even if the entire room is erupting in laughter, your reaction is the only one that truly validates him. By seeking out your eyes in that specific moment, he is subconsciously revealing that your approval, amusement, and joy matter infinitely more to him than the opinion of anyone else in the room, creating reasons for subtle, casual touch. Physical touch is the ultimate barrier to break when moving. From platonic interest to romantic attraction, a man who is hiding his feelings will constantly look for safe, socially acceptable ways to initiate casual physical contact. These touches are always subtle and brief, designed to test your boundaries without revealing his hand too early. He might brush a stray hair away from your face, linger just a second too long when handing you a coffee cup, give you an enthusiastic high five, or gently touch your arm to emphasize a point during a conversation. These fleeting moments of physical contact are highly deliberate. He is craving closeness and trying to gauge whether you welcome his touch or pull away from it. Active listening with deep follow-up questions. When a man is deeply invested in you, his listening style shifts from polite engagement to absolute absorption. Instead of waiting for his turn to speak or offering generic responses, he engages in active listening, proving that your thoughts carry immense weight. This is most apparent through his deep follow-up questions. If you mention a minor hurdle at work, he won't just say, "That's tough." He will ask about the specific dynamics, how it made you feel, and what your next move is. He remembers the narrative arc of your life and wants to explore the deeper layers of your mind. By steering conversations away from superficial, small talk and toward meaningful topics, he is subtly trying to forge an intense psychological connection, showing that he values your intellect and inner world far more than a casual acquaintance ever would. He appears in your peripheral vision frequently. If you consistently spot him hanging around the edges of your vision, it is rarely a coincidence. A man who likes you more than he admits will subconsciously position himself within your immediate orbit, ensuring he is always accessible to you. In a crowded social setting, an office environment, or a casual gathering, you will notice that he frequently migrates to the same side of the room, sits at a nearby table, or joins conversations happening just a few feet away from you. He wants to remain a constant, reassuring presence in your environment, making it easy for a spontaneous interaction to occur. This behavioral pattern is driven by a strong desire to stay close enough to observe you and protect you, while still maintaining enough distance to keep his intense, romantic feelings safely hidden from view, defending you in your absence. A powerful testament to a man's hidden feelings is how he handles your name when you are not around to hear it. If someone offers even a mild critique, misunderstands your actions, or speaks lightly of you in a group setting, his protective instincts will immediately fire up. He will step in as your fiercest advocate, gently correcting the narrative, defending your character, or instantly shutting down any negative gossip. He does this not for performance or to win points with you, but out of a genuine, deep-seated respect and loyalty that he holds for you in his heart. When a man protects your reputation with absolute consistency behind your back, it proves that his affection is rooted in a profound emotional bond rather than simple, surface-level attraction. The extended goodbye prolongation. Saying goodbye is an agonizing task for someone who is secretly falling for you, because it means exiting your presence and returning to reality. The extended goodbye prolongation is a clear sign of this struggle. When a hangout, date, or casual conversation draws to a close, he will actively invent reasons to stretch out the final moments. He might suddenly remember a brand new story to tell you just as you reach your car, ask a lingering question, or walk at an incredibly slow pace toward the exit. Even his physical goodbyes, like a hug, will last a few seconds longer than normal, holding you close with a gentle reluctance. This hesitation to part ways shows that your presence provides him with a profound sense of happiness that he is deeply unwilling to leave behind. The post-interaction digital check-in. The connection does not fade for him the moment you exit his physical sight. Instead, his thoughts continue to linger on you long after you have parted ways. This internal preoccupation invariably manifests as the post-interaction digital check-in. Within a short time of saying goodbye, you will receive a text message from him. It might be a thoughtful note ensuring you made it home safely, a funny meme related to a joke you shared earlier, or a link to a song or article you briefly discussed. By extending the physical interaction into the digital space, he is keeping the lines of communication wide open. This text is his subtle way of maintaining the bond and reassuring you that, despite his quiet exterior, you remain the primary focus of his mind.